is Jenny Carl, and I am a Los Angeles-based hair and makeup artist. I have been in the business for 15 years. I started really young when I was 17, and I have stuck with it and pounded the pavement until this point. Now I own my own agency. It's a full-service hair and makeup agency. You can find us on Facebook under Jenny Carl Hair and Makeup Agency, and also me under Jenny Carl Hair and Makeup Los Angeles. And you can also visit my website, jennycarl.com, where you can contact me with any questions or comments. And now we're going to start our fast and easy 10-minute makeup. Our first step is skincare. Skincare is extremely important, and people forget that. Your makeup only looks good as your skin underneath. So if you really take care of your skin, then your makeup is going to look immaculate. So the first thing we're going to start out with our model is skincare. Now she has gorgeous skin in the first place, but you want to tailor your skin or your skincare to your skin type. So if you're oily, you want to use oil-free. If you're dry, you want to use something really hydrating and creamy. If you're sensitive, you might want to use something all natural or organic. In fact, any skin type can use all natural and organic, and that seems to be where it's going. So the skincare I'm using is also all natural. We're going to put that kind of all over her face and down her neck and even onto her décolleté. Now you can use your hands, just make sure they're clean, or you can use the Beauty Blender, which is a sponge, make sure it's nice and wet, or you can use a brush, such as this. And it's totally up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable using. You want to put it all over the face, around the eye area, on the lips, down the neck, and down the décolleté as well. Everyone seems to forget the neck. It's part of your head, so try not to forget it. And if you're really dry, you can do a second coat. And if you have really dry under eyes, just make sure you really get that moisturizer under the eye so that it soaks in. If you're really hydrated, you're going to prevent from seeing all those fine lines. We all love anything anti-aging. Now I'm going to use a moisture spray right on top. I'm also going to use this moisture spray at the end after I'm all done to set her makeup. It's a great little tool. So now she's hydrated. I'm going to put the makeup on top, and that hydration is going to stay underneath. Then once the makeup's on, I'm going to spray it again, and it's going to set her makeup so she has a nice dewy finish and doesn't look powdery. The next thing I'm going to do is use a liquid bronzer. Anyone with a little bit of a paler skin tone, or even if you're a little tan and you just want to look sun-kissed, it's a great tool. And I just put it where the sun naturally hits the face. So if she were outside, hanging out, the sun would hit her forehead a little bit, the bridge of her nose, her cheeks, maybe a little bit on her chin. You really want to blend it in. Make sure your hands are clean if you're using your hands. You can again use the Beauty Blender sponge for this as well, or you can use your hands, or you can use the brush. It's completely up to you. I also like to take it a little bit down the neck. Anything I do on the face, I kind of like to go a little bit down the neck, just so that everything looks even. And now she has a little sun-kissed look. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little primer on. I'm just going to put it where I need it. Primer just smooths out the skin and it helps the makeup stay on longer. So I'm going to put it around her eye area because we want her concealer to stay on. Around the nose. A little bit on the chin. And a little bit on the forehead. And again, down the neck a tiny bit as well. The first thing I do with eyes is I use a primer. The eye primer is different than the face primer. Usually is a little more creamy, has a bit of a color to it. It's like working on a blank canvas. It creates just a natural, neutral base to work on. Gets away all the imperfections on the eyelid, any sort of discolorations. It's especially good if your eyelids are a little pigmented, or you can see veins, or if they're a little blue. Now this just goes on the eyelid, doesn't go underneath the eye, just on the lid. And this primer will dry in less than a minute. And as you can see, I'm not just sweeping it across the eye, I'm actually patting it on the eye or stippling it onto the eyelid so that it looks nice and smooth and there's no creases. This will also prevent your eyeshadow from caking up, creasing, and also keep it on longer. So primers are a great tool. Then once that's dry, after a couple seconds, I'm gonna put on her base. I'm gonna use the same brush, and her base is a champagne color. I'm using a cream. It's gonna dry to a powder finish, and again, it's gonna keep her eyeshadow on all day long. Because not only do you wanna put your makeup on quicker, you want it to stay on all day. And I'm using that all over her eyelid. And you can use your fingers if you want. Again, just make sure they're clean. I prefer brushes. I do use my fingers a little bit for blending, but a good brushes are hugely important. A good brush, if you invest in it, will not only last you forever, but it will definitely help put on your makeup a lot smoother, like the professionals. Everyone always asks me, how do you do that? How come I can't do that at home? Well, it's not just the technique and it's not just the product. It's the brushes, it's the tools that you use. And then again, in about 30 seconds, this will dry. So make sure you blend it really well. And it also helps you to be quick, because once it's dry, you can't blend it. So you want to really be quick getting this on the eyelid and blending it in. I also take a little bit under the eye, just to give a little highlight. Anything I do on the top of the eye, as far as color, I usually take under the eye too, just to create balance. And I'm just using the excess on the end of the brush, because it's not all about how much makeup you use, it's about blending, blending, blending. I'm a big blender. So after 30 seconds, that's gonna dry, and I'm gonna put on my lid color, or top color, all over color, and highlight color, which is all the same thing. Champagne color. These colors can be used on any skin type, any hair color, any eye color. They're just very versatile colors. Using a big brush, not as big as a blush brush, but bigger than an eyeshadow brush, and it's gonna go all over the entire eyelid. And again, I'm not sweeping it, I'm stippling it or patting it on the eye. And again, this brush is great to quickly put on these colors. If you were using a tiny little brush, you'd use more product and it would take more time. You'd have to go over and over and over again. See, now we're done already. I'm also going to take that color with a pencil brush and I'm going to go underneath the eye, because I always love highlighting this inside corner. That's what really makes the eye pop. You take that light champagne color and go just right inside the corner of the eye and highlight it. It's gonna make your eyes look brighter. It's gonna make your eyeshadow stand out. It's even gonna make your skin look better. The next thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna do a natural smoky eye. I'm gonna use a plummy bronze with a crease brush, which is a fluffier brush and it's pointed. I'm just gonna go right into the eyeshadow. And as you notice, these brushes have multiple uses. So I'm not using a million brushes. I'm using the same brushes for certain things. So you don't have to go out and buy a million brushes. You don't need one brush for every little tiny thing you do. You can use your brushes over and over again for different things. I'm taking that right onto the lid. And again, I'm kind of mushing it in or stippling it in the crease of the eye, or the lid of the eye, excuse me. That's it, just this lid part right here. I'm not going above the crease because I want the highlight under the brow. Just want it on the lid. And you can apply it a little lighter if you want it to be a little sheerer, not as bronzy, or you can apply it darker if you want it to really pop. And there we go, the bronze is on. All right, now we're gonna move on to mascara. You wanna do that directly after you curl your eyelashes. Now you can use, if this is your mascara, you can use the wand that it comes with. For sanitary reasons, I'm using a disposable wand. And then immediately apply the mascara. What I like to do is take my finger and just kind of pop the eyelashes up and get as close to the root as I possibly can. And that'll really give lift to your eyelashes. You can get really close to the root. And once I've got the root done, then I can just kind of go through and separate or thicken. And you can really play around with your eyelashes. Look straight at me. Perfect. You can separate them. You can really draw out the ends of the eyelashes. Want them a little longer. You can use, if you want a more natural look, you can use like a dark brown. I prefer black. I think black is an amazing color. And I mean, look at the difference already from one eyelash to the other. Now we're gonna move on to the bottom lashes once the top lashes are dry. And really easily, just swipe back and forth. Just across the bottom. And it really opens the eye up. Everyone forgets about the bottom lashes. And once you extend those bottom lashes and the top lashes, it really opens the eye up. Now we're going to move on to eyebrows. And you can use the same brush you use for eyeliner. Just make sure, like I said, you clean it off with a makeup remover wipe or brush cleaner. I just put a little brush cleaner on a cloth and I'm just taking out that excess eyeliner so that we have a clean brush. And literally, if you wait 1 minute, it will be dry. So once that's dry, or you can have two brushes, two angle brushes. It's, you know, it's all good to have a couple extra brushes here and there. I'm gonna take an eyeshadow or an eyebrow powder and I'm just gonna dip into it just very lightly. You wanna use a color that's similar to your natural hair color. And then you just wanna fill in just as needed. Very, very lightly. And you want to make sure you really concentrate on this arch right here, because that's what really makes the eye pop open. It's that arch in the eyebrow, and people forget that the eyebrows really shape the face. And just a little at a time. And I'm gonna go down the eye a little bit. The rule of thumb is kind of like the eyebrow should stop here and it should stop here. So her eyebrows are pretty good. I only needed to add a little bit to the end. And then what I always do is I use an eyebrow comb like this and I just brush the excess powder out. And see, I mean, look at the difference between the two eyebrows. It's tremendous. Okay, and now that the eyebrows are filled in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a clear brow gel through them. This is another great invention. If you have unruly eyebrows, running a clear brow gel through your eyebrows will hold the hair and set it. It's kind of like hairspray for eyebrows. Once it dries, your eyebrows will not move. So you can shape them, create the arch, smooth them out, and then once that dries, they will not move. Now, once the eyes are done, we're gonna do some cleanup and we're gonna start on the face. So with my beauty blender, I'm gonna take a little bit of the moisturizer. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna clean up underneath. You can use makeup remover, you can use your fingers with a little moisturizer, you can use a brush like this with some moisturizer on it. Just go underneath and just clean up that excess that has just kind of fallen. And whatever, technique works the best for you. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more primer under the eyes just to smooth them out, because now we're gonna add concealer. And the primer really helps, it helps the concealer go on really smooth. And even around the nose area, if you have excess primer. I'm using a stick concealer, it's really creamy. I'm not using a lot, a little goes a long way. You can use a liquid. Some people like to put foundation all over their face. I just use concealer where needed, especially if you have decent skin. All you need to do is put a little concealer under the eyes to brighten. And then right on top of that goes your finishing powder. And that's pretty much the extent of the face makeup. So you don't need to use a ton of face makeup to look fantastic. Taking a fan brush, which I love this brush. It's great for powder, it's great for bronzer. I'm just working right out of the cap. It's really easy. And I'm just kind of sweeping it all over the face. And then I'm also taking it down the neck and the décolleté. Just want everything to look smooth, smooth, smooth. So we're gonna move into blushes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a darker pink and a lighter highlighted pink, and I'm gonna mix the two of them together. And again, I'm working off the cap, which is another great little tool with the fan brush. And I'm gonna go sweep it right on just the apples of her cheeks. So the apples of the cheeks basically are right here, that ball of the cheek. Smile, right there. That's the apple. That's where you want it to go. You don't want it to go too much higher. You don't want that 80s, wing. You just want to keep it here, kind of like a flushed look, as if you just ran a mile and you just are healthy and flushed. Because then what I'm going to do is take a bronzer with the same brush, just kind of shake it off. I'm going to take this bronzer and I'm just going to quickly go all around the neck, the chest, just a tiny bit, just to give a bit of that glow or color, just all over the face. And you can do that before the blush, after the blush, it's completely up to you. What you can even do is take the blush that was kind of light and highlighting, and kind of highlight your collarbone. If you're wearing something open, highlight your shoulders, highlight kind of that little crease in between the cleavage, and the neck. Just so you look polished and your skin all looks perfect, so to speak. So we're moving on to the last step, which is lips. And I'm using a nude liner that's very sheer, and I'm using that just to outline the lips to make them look a little bigger. And I'm also gonna fill in the entire lip to provide a base. And so what this is gonna do is this is gonna keep the lipstick on longer. And I'm gonna go a little outside the line just to make the lips look a little plumper. Just a little bit outside the line, not a tremendous amount, because that would look scary. I'm filling in the whole entire lip. So again, it's like working off a blank canvas again. And then I'm gonna take kind of a neutral pinky peach lipstick, and I'm just gonna put that right on top, all over. Perfect. You know, it just depends on how dark you like it. We did a smokier eye, so I'm doing a little more of a nude lip, but with a little color, a little pinky peach. And this lipstick is not matte, it's creamy, so it'll keep the lips hydrated. Again, you just want to make sure it's blended. You want to stay between the lines, like we learned in kindergarten. Don't draw outside the lines, that's never good. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a gloss. And I'm going to add a kind of a pinky, sheer pinky gloss. And I'm just adding that to kind of the pout area. So pout for me. Yep, so that middle area where the pout is, I'm just adding a little gloss. Okay, put your lips normal again. Perfect. And what that's gonna do is it's just gonna add a little shine, and it's gonna make the lips look plumper. And that's pretty much the full face. So now that the makeup's all done, what I do is I go back to my moisture spray and I spray this and set the whole face. Close your eyes. That's gonna keep her hydrated, and that's gonna set the makeup. And we're done. So now that we're done, you can check my stuff out at jennycarl.com, and you can also friend me on Facebook and check out my agency page on Facebook as well. It's Jenny Carl Hair and Makeup Agency, or Jenny Carl Hair and Makeup Los Angeles. And you can also contact me on jennycarl.com if you have any questions or comments about techniques, products, product lines, classes, workshops, any questions at all that you have about the agency, contact me on jennycarl.com. And thank you so much.